Right, good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of PLA with myself, Nick and Bruno. We've got two questions today. The first one we'll deal with is the tax question, and we'll deal with that one with Bruno. And then the second one has to deal with invoices and the Brodie corporate, and it's a water-related invoice, and we'll take on that one with Nick. The first question, Bruno, goes as follows. I have a new rental management client. The property is in Cape Town. But the owners live in the UK. Both owners are South African citizens, right? With regards to tax and providing their tax numbers on that mandate, the agent received the following questions from obviously those landlords. They say that we don't pay tax in SA, South Africa. We both pay tax in the UK, and there is a dual taxation agreement between the two countries. Do we need an SA tax number to proceed? So, Bruno, this question is obviously from an agent that has a mandate to obviously manage the said client's properties.
Sure. So if a person lives in the UK, so remember, South Africa is based on tax residency or source income when it comes to taxation. So a person that lives in the UK but actually acquires income through a source in South Africa, like a property, for example, would have to pay tax in South Africa through the source. Now, the double taxation agreements between various countries obviously change the rules and the dynamics, but typically not when it comes to source income. And specifically with the UK, the double taxation agreement does specify that the country within which the immovable property is located will be entitled to tax any income from that movable property. So unfortunately, when it comes to this question, these landlords should actually be paying tax in South Africa. Now, to take that one step further, the reason for the submission of someone's tax number is typically for FICA purposes, and I assume that's why this question is being asked. Now, based on my first answer being that there is an expectation that tax be paid in South Africa, these landlords should have a tax number. Now, remember what I had mentioned earlier. I'm assuming now that they're not resident in South Africa, tax resident, and they're tax resident in the UK. Because if they're tax resident in South Africa and only temporarily in the UK, technically, they could be taxed in South Africa from their worldwide income. So I'm kind of jumping to the assumption that they're tax residents in the UK, but they should have a South African tax number. And for FICA purposes, there would be an expectation that the estate agent acquire this tax number because it should exist. There are circumstances where a person may not have a tax number for some reason or another. But again, when it comes to immovable property, it's highly doubtful, because as soon as you're leasing this property out, you're going to be acquiring income, and you should actually be paying tax or declaring the income and making certain deductions of expenses. So yeah, general rule of thumb, as an agent, you need to insist on having that tax number. It is an expectation for FICA purposes and obviously from a SARS perspective.
All right. So yeah, thank you very much, Bruno, for that one. And we'll be adding this particular question to our mandate playlist that we are continuing with our agents. And then